Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Book Experience. Again, this is a suboptimal environment. I'm trying to do this one, and don't be distracted by this calendar up top. I would have removed it if I could, but have sort of put some adhesive and it stuck to the wall, so I won't be able to take it out. Sorry about that. So today's book experience is about a book recommendation by Ritvik Das, my friend and colleague. So here I go. Because I was doing a book experience based on a book reco. I took notes. You can see I was sort of way more serious than the usual times. I've written down. So the book is called A Thousand Suns, and Suns as in SUNS, and it's written by Alex Caro. So overall impressions, right? So it had a weak start, very weak start with a very amateurish protagonist, I'd say, right? So this is a this is a photographer who does a sort of he dives into the ocean, right? Not very deep sea diving, but there is some ruin that has been unearthed there, and so this guy he does a dive with one of his friends, and who is an expert diver, and then he doesn't realize, but he has found something. There is something in the pictures that he takes, and then this story basically goes back. It goes back to 1945. This is the time right before fall of Germany. So you are taken back to that time, and then basically there's not a big lot of plot to give away. I mean, what do you think of when you say A Thousand Suns, right? I know what I thought when I heard this. It's a nuclear bomb. That's what it is precisely, right? So the book is fairly imaginative that way, right? So there's not a lot to what is A Thousand Suns. You fairly early on in the book, you'll know there's a nuclear weapon, and that is attempted to be dropped on America by Germany in the hopes that America will declare war on Russia, because this is the time when Russia is literally pulverizing Germany, right? They have, I think they have pulverized, most of the cities, and they are closing in on Berlin. That's the time this is set in. So weak protagonist, very slow 4 5 chapters. The language, even when the story moves back to 1945, which is about 80 years, I'd say, right? Give or take a few years here and there. It's very colloquial. So it's like, the way Americans would speak today, that's the language the German soldiers are speaking back then. So it jars somehow. Um, Now, what is good? This guy, Alex Caro, he spent, I think, the first 10 years of his career trying to do some music, not very successful there. Then he spent quite a few years designing games. So the great part about this book is the action, right? So I told you the plot. There's nothing to the plot, and like I said, I mean, it's not a spoiler really. If you start reading the book, you'll figure out that's what the plot is. But the way the plot is executed, right? So the bomb pickup, the bomb drop, how they manage in between, the troubles that they face on the way, that is fantastically done. Fantastically done. In the sense, I mean, although this is a not a very good book, and I am not going to read this author again, at least the action parts I was hooked. Hooked to the extent I managed to finish this book. I think it's again a long book. It's a 3 to 4 days, and during a very difficult, I'd say, professional time, because I'm in the midst of something. There's a lot of work there, a lot of stress, but in spite of that, I couldn't put it down. At least the part where it moves back, right? And the part which is more of a present day thing, that's, it started weak. I'd say it ended weak. I mean, if you ask me, they could have just let that part be. There isn't that much of a connection between the now and the then, right? So they could have just kept it a story in the flashback. I think that's how they could have kept it. So yeah, I think I love war thrillers. I love myself a good war thriller. So this was one, possibly not one I would have picked up right after I read Alone in Berlin, because that was a very authentic book, right? Although the translation difficulties aside, it's a very authentic book. Yeah, I mean, when you read about Berlin, and you feel it was Berlin. This was anything but then again, I think, like I said, it's a very very quick book to go through. No female characters, and yeah, I think read it for the action. Give it a try, and let me know what you think about this book experience. I'll meet you guys next time. Thank you. Bye bye.